Hello, gentlemen. How's it going?
Hey,
Good,
Will.
Will. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for joining me. Congrats on Weekend in Taipei. I thought it was great. Of
Thank you. Thank you so much.
course. And Sung, I wanted to start with you. You nailed the part of Quang. He's a pretty ruthless villain, and it's a great little role for you. But you've also played your fair share of good guys. Fans love seeing you in those, Fast and Furious movies. But then doing a movie like this. I was curious, how did you feel about taking on this sort of bad guy character? Is it fun for you to kind of switch gears for something like this?
It's a lot more fun playing a bad guy.
Yeah.
Much more fun. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
playing the cool brooding guy gets boring after a while. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Did you have conversations with George a lot about any particular nuances to make Quang, particularly maybe things that weren't even in the script, like, oh, I want to try this or anything like that.
For sure. Initially, the bad guy character can read very one-dimensional, right?
Yeah.
So, I knew that, a director like George would be sensitive to, you know, an Asian male character in a film. Like, you've seen that very stereotypical bad guy. Like, he might just do kung fu and he's just angry at the world and just that's it, right? So we talked about, how can we make this character more dimensional and relatable? Most people can't relate with being a big, some drug lord gangster, but they can relate with being in love. And what would you do if that love was taken away from you, right? And what would that trigger, right? So, I think that was the North Star for Quan to make him more complex. So, every morning before we would go to set, we would sit down and have breakfast and talk about the day and talk about the scene. And George was just so open, to bring different dimensions to that character. So, I think it worked out.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and George, as co-writer in addition to directing, I mean, did you sort of start with the idea of shooting in Taipei, Taiwan, and then going from there, or did you have sort of the story first and then go, oh, okay, where do I want to shoot this kind of thing?
Yeah. Well, originally we thought that we might be able to shoot this in Hong Kong. So originally it was called Weekend in Hong Kong, but
Oh,
we got the budget numbers back. It's like, uh-oh, yeah, there's no way we're gonna be able to execute this there. But Luc Besson had made Lucy. He shot 2 weeks of it in Taipei, and he said, "Well, I really had a great experience there. You're from Taiwan. Why don't you go check it out and see if we can relocate the whole story to Taipei?" And so, yeah, I went back for a month, sort of scouted the whole island, and yeah, was happy to report back to Luc Besson. It's like, yeah, we can definitely make this in Taipei, and so yeah, so it evolved from there.
that's awesome. Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
And Sung, if you don't mind, I was curious, folks are really excited for the next Fast and Furious movie. If there's anything you can share about it, any sort of tease or anything you're excited about for the next one.
I haven't heard anything.
No, okay.
Oh no,
Yeah,
really?
yeah,
Oh
I don't, I
no.
don't, I have no idea.
Hmm.
Yeah. So.
All right. I'll ask someone else. And
Yeah, let us know, please.
yeah,
Do you think the world needs another one? That's
Well, the
my
last one
yeah,
kind
question to
of
you.
it was very open ended. I kind of want to see how it all
I'm not. I'm,
wraps up.
I'm not asking you, George.
Okay, damn it.
yeah. I think it'll be 20 years from now, and I think the world will still be asking for them. So,
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Well, there you go.
George, I also wanted to ask, it's been 30 years since your movie Swimming with Sharks came out. I was curious if you ever think about that movie, hearing about, the Hollywood landscape and, you hear headlines about, the workplace. And so I was curious, you ever think back to, because I've seen your movie, I thought it was great.
Oh, wow,
So,
thanks.
30
Yeah,
years?
it's 30 years. I know.
30
Yep.
years?
Yeah,
Wow.
1995. Yeah, so it's
yeah.
yeah. I know.
Wow.
I'm old.
30 years.
So yeah, no. I mean, one of the incredible privileges of having made a movie like that. It's something that people. It's still in the zeitgeist even 30 years later today, and that's I, yeah. Well, like most filmmakers might say, oh, I don't want to be pigeonholed, or look, I have depth. I have incredible range. I can do more than just swimming sharks. But look, as a filmmaker, to have a film that is still being talked about 30 years later is an incredible privilege. And so, yeah, it's amazing whenever I get press calls or people wanting to comment on, yeah, especially now with, sort of the Me Too landscape and, all that we're facing. It's really just, yeah, fantastic to be a part of that cultural exchange. Yeah. So,
Of course. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Well, congrats on that and congrats on Weekend in Taipei. I thought it was wonderful.
Thank you.
great. Thanks.